Hey guys, today we're gonna review the Marvel Legends Morlun action figure. Before we unbox him, let's have a look at the box. At the top we see a Spider-Man logo. Down to the bottom, some product information. Moving on to the side, there's an artwork of Morlun lurking in the dark. On to the back of the box is that same artwork. Description of Morlun, rest of the characters in the wave, and finally down to that last side is the same artwork. So let's go ahead and get him open. Out of the packaging, we have the figure in the plastic tray. He comes with one interchangeable sneering head sculpt, and of course there's the Armadillo Build-A-Figure left arm. Since Morlun only comes with one spare head, let's look at both head sculpts together. Both heads are cast in a grey plastic, and this gives him a deathly skin tone look. His eyes are painted in red, with black eyebrows on top, as well as white for his teeth. I much prefer the left head sculpt because he's got a devious grin on his face, which is really fitting for an evil, sinister character. I don't really like the alternate head sculpt so much. I guess he's supposed to be sculpted with a sneer and gritting his teeth, but the expression over here is kind of weird. He ends up looking like he's biting his lip in pain. So it ends up looking kind of odd and goofy to me, so I don't really like it. I also don't really like the way that his eyes are painted. He's only got a small dot of black paint for his irises, and this makes the eye paint look kinda cheap and lazy, especially when we've seen how Hasbro can paint eyes with all that digital print. Moving to the sides, as well as the back of the head, you can see that his hair sculpt is a separate piece of black plastic. It's got sculpting to show the textures in them, and the hair sculpts are exactly the same on both heads. And of course, the alternate head also pops on well onto his body, but I'm not really a fan of it, so I'm not going to be using it much. Onto the sculpt of the rest of his body is mostly reused from the Marvel Cinematic Universe Logan suited body, which itself also has a lot of parts reused for the Hellfire Club male body. The new pieces on Morlun are his head sculpt, his neck and collar piece, that outer jacket, the cuffs on his sleeves, as well as his hands. That collar piece is cast in a blue plastic, and that blue plastic makes up the scarf. He's got silver and red paint for his amulet in the middle, and also some grey paint for his neck. However, that grey paint doesn't seem to match the grey skin tone plastic used for his head sculpt. Onto his jacket piece, it is cast in a dark grey plastic, with silver paint for that vest in the middle, that also has black paints for the buttons. He's also got black and silver paint for his belt. Moving on to his arms, they're also cast in the dark grey plastic, and he's also got mid-tone grey plastic for the cuffs on his sleeves. There are also two silver buttons painted over here. And these cuffs are actually separate pieces that you can slide off his sleeve if you wanted to. Onto his hands, they are given an enlarged size, cast in that same deathly grey plastic, with some cool details for the red suction cups on the inside of his hands. And on the outsides of his hands, he also has long, monstrous fingernails. So these hands also look natural resting at the side of his body, but they're also a good shape and size to choke other action figures. And moving on to the back of the torso, that coat is also sculpted with tails, and there are also paint applications for the silver buttons at the back. Moving on to his legs, he's got that mid-tone grey plastic used for his pants, as well as black plastic for his Oxford shoes. Moving on to articulation, his head is on a ball hinge, so he can turn left as well as right. 360 is hindered by the sculpt of his hair that's resting on his shoulders and his back. He can look downwards just that much. Again, that's also hindered by his big chin and that scarf. There's not much he can look up. Once again, that's also hindered by his hair sculpt. He's got a swivel hinge at the shoulders, so that goes 360, and that swivel feels detented. He can also hinge his shoulders outwards. Don't push it too far because mine can also pop off at the bicep. He also has a bicep swivel that goes 360. Double hinged elbows, so that's quite good range. Swivel hinge at the wrist that goes 360, articulating inwards as well as outwards. His coat is made of a flexible plastic, so you can still use his ab crunch forward as well as some way backwards. He's got a waist swivel that swings right as well as left. Ball joints at the hips, so you have quite a good spread. And you can also get his legs forward and backward that far. He's got an upper thigh swivel, so that swings outwards as well as inwards. Double joints at the knees, so you can get pretty good range. He's got a swivel just above his ankle, so you can swing his foot outwards as well as inwards. a good bit of ankle tilt upwards as well as downwards, and finally functional ankle pivot outwards as well as inwards. He's got quite a standard scheme of articulation for Marvel Legends, so you should be able to get him into most poses. There are challenges in stability because of the curved bottom of his Oxford shoes, but that's prevalent among all the suited body sculpts. And Morlun is a vampire, so you need to get him into all these creepy flight poses. Size-wise, Morlun stands at about 6¼ inches, and that's about 16 centimeters. For size comparisons, here he is with Spider-Man and Venom, with Blade the Vampire Hunter and Morbius, Wolverine and Iron Man, some G.I. Joe Classified series, and some Star Wars Black series. After all of Hasbro's hype of his newly sculpted creepy blood-sucking hands, I can't help but feel a little bit let down by this figure. The hands are definitely great and extra creepy, and I do like his flexible jacket piece. But the rest of the body has heavy reuse, and to top it all off, I really dislike the execution of the paint in his eyes. The alternate head sculpt is even worse and turns out looking way too goofy. If you are not a Morlun fan, this is an easy pass. Please like and share this video, let me know what you think in the comments below, and subscribe to my channel for more toy reviews. Thanks for watching, take care and stay safe.